Peter and Catherine had been searching for the perfect home for months. They wanted to start their lives together and start a family. Finally, they found the perfect home in a quiet neighborhood with friendly neighbors. It was everything they wanted and more. On the first night in their new home, Peter and Catherine were woken up by strange noises coming from outside. They looked out the window and saw their neighbor, Mr. Johnson, standing in his yard, staring at their house. He had an eerie expression on his face, and he didn't move even when Peter and Catherine turned on the lights. They shrugged it off and went back to bed. The next day, they decided to introduce themselves to their neighbors. They walked next door to Mr. Johnson's house and rang the doorbell, but no one answered. They peered into the windows, but the house was empty and there was no sign of Mr. Johnson. They felt a chill run down their spines and decided to leave. Days passed, and strange things started happening. Doors opened and closed by themselves, whispers were heard in the dead of night, and the couple felt like they were being watched at all times. They tried to ignore it, but the feeling only grew stronger. One night, they heard a loud banging on their front door. They cautiously opened it, only to find Mr. Johnson standing there, with an even stranger expression on his face. He handed them a piece of paper and whispered, "You need to leave. You don't belong here." The couple quickly shut the door and called the police. When the police arrived, they searched the house and found nothing. Mr. Johnson had disappeared. The couple was relieved, but the feeling of being watched still lingered. The next day, they found the piece of paper Mr. Johnson had given them. It was an old map, with a strange symbol drawn in the middle. As they were studying the map, the front door suddenly burst open. In a split second, the couple realized that their neighbors were not what they seemed. They were beings from another dimension, and they had been watching Peter and Catherine since they moved in. The couple screamed as the beings advanced on them, but it was too late. As the beings vanished into thin air, leaving the couple in a state of shock. They quickly packed their things and left the house, never looking back. To this day, they still wonder what really happened in that house and what became of the mysterious entity that was watching them. As they drove away from the house, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were still being watched. They decided to do some research on the symbol on the map and discovered that it was a symbol of an ancient cult that worshipped evil entities from another dimension. The cult was believed to have used the symbol to summon these entities into our world. They realized that their move to the quiet neighborhood was not a coincidence, and that the beings had lured them to the house to use them as sacrifices. The couple felt a deep sense of horror and regret for ignoring the warning signs and putting themselves in such danger. They tried to put the experience behind them and move on with their lives, but the entities continued to haunt their dreams. Every night, they would see the strange symbol and hear the whispers of the beings calling out to them. Years passed, and the couple had almost forgotten about their ordeal. They had started a family and were living a happy life. But one day, as they were walking in the park with their children, they saw the symbol on a poster for a local carnival. It was the same symbol that was on the map, and they felt a deep sense of fear and unease. They quickly took their children and left, but as they were driving away, they saw the beings from the house standing in the crowd, watching them. The couple felt a surge of terror, knowing that the entities had found them again. They sped away from the park and never returned. They moved to a different city, far away from the entities and the symbol, but they could never shake the feeling that they were still being watched. The couple lived in fear for the rest of their lives, never daring to speak of their encounter with the evil entities from another dimension.